Welcome to Crowning Around, where every woman wears a crown, whether she's 17 or 70. I'm Joan Caliendo, and this is the space where magic happens when women empower women. Each week, we'll dig into topics like ageism, stepping into your power, and everything in between. And today, we're kicking it all off with a queen in her own right. Me, Ms. New York Senior America.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to show number 2 and season number 2 as we approach the end of August and we start to get very concerned about the fact that summer vacation is coming to a close. And the two of us can certainly relate to this because we were school teachers and we know that feeling. But what I wanted to say as we begin tonight's show is as the fall approaches, don't we all feel the need to reset and reimagine and reinvestigate some of the things that may be holding us back from the progress that we're looking to gain? So I think this is the perfect opportunity, August 11th, to talk about a show that we're going to call the 11/11 Make-A-Wish segment, and it couldn't be more appropriate that it's on August the 11th. So I'm going to start by introducing you to my guest this evening, Miss Donna Sirianni, who comes to us. Crowd goes wild. As a former friend of a volunteer service known as Habitat for Humanity, which is how Donna and I actually met in 2024. So my very first responsibility as the queen was to go take on some, heavy-duty charity functions and to volunteer and get the word out that there were people like us, well, definitely me, a senior, maybe not Donna, that needed to still be useful and put to work in certain situations where people really needed us. So the first thing that I did was go to Habitat for Humanity. But before we start with some of the flashback photos of how we met, I would like to show you a segment that introduces our guest because she has appeared numerous times on Channel 12, which is the local channel here on Long Island, in a segment called Be Well. So please look at this short video.
We all have. Come on, let's go. Hi, Donna. Welcome back.
Okay, we taped some segments today for Be Well with Christy back there. It was awesome. We did it on perspective and gratitude. Tune in.
That was a great segment.
Oh, thank you. And that's a wrap.
So that's our guest this evening, Miss Donna Sirianni. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on your
Love
show.
having you back here.
I love doing
Together
this
again.
because this is awesome.
This
Who knew
is
we were
going
like
to be-
laying down floors,
Yeah.
working in a house, and here
I'm
we
gonna
are
show you.
crowning around.
We're much more glamorous today. So, Bobby, you could put up the first picture of us at Habitat for Humanity. So here we were in front of the truck, right? That was going to teach us how to use drills and 2x4s and all of the above. And those are some very glamorous ladies in that picture, not looking super glamorous because we were in a home that needed from top to bottom, right?
That's right.
A redo. And there we are with our work boots on, and we were ripping up floors. And if you're looking really at that picture, that whole floor is brand new because of us. And we really took on the challenge seriously. And we did some really good work. And you know what? We felt good about it when we finished. So that's how I met my guest, Donna. But let me give you a little background into her story. She, like I, a former biology teacher who has transitioned over to being an entrepreneur, which is just fantastic stuff. And her first entrepreneurship was to create a business called Moving Forward Strategies, which is really what the focus of this evening's show is all about, moving forward and embracing change and transition. We know it's hard. Don't get nervous. We're here to strategize it and give you tips and helpful information. Donna began the 11/11 Reset strategy-based monthly online membership, which I love the way she refers to this as the gym membership for your mind. And we're going to get into some very specifics about how we're always so worried about toning our pecs and running 4 miles on the treadmill, but are we really working on, the interior and what it needs to, refresh, renew, reimagine, and keep things going and rolling forward. Another thing I want you to know is that when we spoke about how to plan out tonight's show, we talked about big changes that make people very uncomfortable. It can be new careers, right? It can be new marriages. It can be moving from one location to another location. It can be any sort of empty nester situation that we've discussed openly because both of us have experienced that. But what I want you to understand is that Donna's program is really talking about change, knowing that there is stress attached to it, but we're going to move forward from it. So we're really going to dig in deep tonight. I hope you enjoy this because it's a very worthwhile program. So let's start with the Queen's Court, which is the very first question of the night, which will get you to understand my guest's program. Question number 1 talks about transitioning from the classroom to entrepreneurship, and that is a major shift. So my question is, how did you create the moving forward strategy?
Good question. And thank
gotta
you again
start
for
there.
having me on. I'm so excited
Very
to
thrilled.
talk. We're going to have a good time.
We are.
So I taught middle school life science and physical science. And
God
then I
bless
taught,
you.
I know. No
Already.
easy feat.
Already.
I know. You know where I've been already.
I know.
And then I taught high school biology.
Okay.
And I loved it. I loved working with the kids that, just were struggling, going through a hard time, and helping them to believe in themselves.
Okay.
And so in all my classes, I would always thread through things about the mindset and believing in yourselves and all of that. And at that time, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that there was even a field called personal development.
Right.
But I said to myself, I wish I could just teach this stuff, because if they have that positive mindset and they believe in themselves and they know how to pick themselves up when they fall, because that's life, like that would be awesome. If I could just teach that, that would be like life-changing for me to be able to do something like that.
Yes.
So I had resigned from teaching, which I had always planned to do when I wanted to start a family.
Well, that in itself is a big decision.
Oh my God.
That's a big one.
I appreciate you saying that.
Absolutely.
Because I was just going. I was doing all these unique programs in the classroom and outside the classroom and talking about, how to make things practical, and you're going. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Now this is where I wanted to stop, and I wanted to raise my family, and it's just a weird place. It's what I wanted to do, and I don't regret it for a second because it's what I wanted to do. But when you have your career and it's going, and then you pivot and just stop, it's just
nerve-wracking.
It's a weird place to be in. So I had stopped to start my family, and I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time.
Okay.
So I did that. I loved it. I was blessed to be able to do that. And then I said, you know what? I want to start a business, and I want to take all of the things I know about teaching and how to make people engaged and learning styles and all that, and create curriculum around personal development and mindset.
Perfect.
And be able to do that, because
Apply
I know
the classroom to practical real life. I got it. I love that.
Yes. So I started Moving Forward Strategies. I had originally called it Moving Forward Seminars, but I did it to Moving Forward Strategies. And it was interesting because when I first started, and I love this story, when I first started, I looked to be a substitute teacher for a little bit, as I was getting this off the ground, right? Because I'm like, I still love interacting with students, so it was a good kind of in between. I needed some money. I'm being real.
Needed money,
I needed the money,
course.
so I'm like, all right, let me do something that I know I'll love and interact with the students, and I love that.
Just that energy from
that
the
energy,
kids.
right? I always loved teaching. I'm still a teacher.
You are.
So I did that, and a position came up. And I got called in. I went through all these different interviews, and it was so different as an adult and as like a mom to interview in the school district, because I wasn't nervous at all. I'm like, listen, I love teaching, I said, and I love motivating and inspiring. I know I would be a great combination. So I went all the way to the superintendent for the final 3 people.
Right.
And it was for a part-time position. And he looked at me and he said, listen, this will probably turn into a full-time position. Is this really the direction you want to go in?
Interesting.
And I was like, wow. It was a moment of truth. And people were like, you're crazy. You have 3 small kids. You're divorced. I went through a divorce at 40. And they're like, you should make sure you have a job
Go
with the
with
benefits and
something
this and
that's
that.
stable.
And I sat there and I was just like, you know what?
this is not what I want.
I'm going to pursue my business. That is my passion.
Wow.
And it may sound crazy, but I have to see what I've got. I've got to see if I can get out there and help the people I want to help and teach the things I want to teach.
Wow.
And, he was just like, all right, thank you for your honesty. And that was it. So I started it with like no net, nothing.
That's exactly
And 3
right.
kids
Perfect
and divorced.
analogy.
And I'm like, I am going to go for it anyway. I had faith in God, and I'm just like, I need to do this. It's just something. I always liked business. I always was always interested in entrepreneurship because I love the fact that as an entrepreneur, you got to take a risk. And there's got to be a trust and a belief in yourself to do it.
That's what this is.
It's crazy,
a risk.
right?
It's
exactly.
a risk. And teaching is so not risky.
No.
Because once you get that tenure and
That's
you're building
I was
towards
tenured.
the pension. Right. That's why I'm trying to say to my viewers, step 1 for her was turning down a permanent position, a probationary position in a school district. That is a big deal.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, I want to start my family. I mean, I respect that. But then life changed on you after you had your 3 kids. And then she still said, no, I'm going to pivot towards being a businesswoman and not the security of the school district. And you got to respect someone like that and say, sign me up, because if she could do it, I could do it. Well, it's very daring. It's very daring.
You know what? But it is like, I'm never stopping. I want to reach as many people as I can. And I'm still teaching. I go into law firms and corporations, and I have all these different things that I created that I teach all around personal development and professional development. And I'm like, I'm still teaching.
are.
But these
You're
are just
teaching
big
adults.
kids now. They're
You're
just
teaching
big. And you
adults.
know what? They're just big kids.
They're big
like
kids.
us. That's it.
Right. So this is like the professional development that we had to listen to when we were teachers. Like when the kids had a half day, they were like, okay, PD. And I was like, oh, for God's sakes. And they would bring in someone to talk to us about how we need to empower each other. And we would all sit there and listen, and half the people lately were on their phones and not paying attention. But at the end of the day, it's true, right? Because the core of the classroom is the teacher, and you're trying to transfer your belief to the kids. So now she's saying, I do that for adults now that are maybe in challenging business positions, right? And trying to teach them about, digging deep in their core and finding what their mission is and their goals, et cetera. So you're really still teaching. You're just teaching people that aren't, listening for a bell and then running to the next class.
I do lesson plans. I do the
I'm
same
sure you
thing.
do.
I'll show you later. I have my
sure you
whole
do.
lesson plan and things that they have. So that's what makes it, I think, unique and different.
I love
where
it.
it's not I'm coming in.
Well, I can relate, and I love it, because let me tell you, when I started to recruit Donna for the show, she was sending me back questions. I was like, this is such a teacher, because not only did she send me back questions, she gave me a script of how this should go, which I was like, this is perfect. This is her lesson plan for tonight, and it really diminished my role and how
So
to
you
create
get
the
me.
questions.
You got me.
100% get you. And I appreciate it. All right, let's move on to our second question. The second question is, the 1111 reset is described as a gym membership, right, for the mind. And I thought to myself, that's so important when you retire, which is something that Donna has not done. That's the next obstacle ahead, and that's the next transition that gives you a lot of stress. But I thought to myself, the first thing I said to myself when I retired in 2022 is, you got to keep your mind sharp. You got to keep moving physically. You can't become sedentary. And you have to stay vibrant, because it would be very, very easy when you stop that grind of driving on the Southern State Parkway and trying to get to class on time and grading all the papers, because I taught U.S. history, and making sure those kids pass those exams and dealing with 125 different personalities a day, which is honestly draining, and then coaching and driver's ed and all of the above.
I coach soccer too.
Yeah, this is what you do. So when that stops, right, people always say, you're gonna miss it. This is who you are. Surprisingly enough, I did not miss it, because the grind had gotten to be a lot. After 2020, life had changed dramatically in the schools. But I thought to myself, gym membership for the mind, so crucial for people who retire, but not just for people who retire, but specifically for the friends of mine that watch that are retired. This is why you keep moving forward, no pun intended, but pun intended. So I would like for you to go through the 4 parts of the strategy, if you could.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So yes, I believe when you talked about a gym membership for your mind, people have gym memberships and
All
they
the
use that
time.
to strengthen their body. And I'm like, there should be mindset memberships and something, because that's the foundation of everything. It's the foundation you need before you step in a gym to do the things you want to do.
Right.
So my big goal or mission or my vision is for people to sit around and go, what kind of, what gym membership do you belong to? And other people go, and what mindset, membership do you have? That it's just a normal thing.
Change
So
the
I'm like, I'm
language.
going for that. So
Good.
We'll see.
Let's
Right?
see.
You never know.
All right, tell
so
us
that's what I'm
about
going
it.
for. So the 11/11 reset. So I decided that I want to make a membership so people are part of something.
Right.
And every month is a different theme. So I had like reset your mindset. This month I've had reset your stress. I have reset your belief systems. It's different theme every month. And as I was creating it, I went to, well, what do I want them to get out of it? At the end, what do I want them to walk away with? So I was writing down, I'm like, well, I want them to have one new insight. I want them to have one habit they're going to stop, because sometimes we need to stop things. It's not just about doing things. One action I'm going to take, and one new reframe I'm going to make, which is changing perspectives. Like, it's raining out, I can't believe it, to, well, the flower is going to get watered. So that's a simple example of a
love that.
reframe.
Yeah.
So I'm writing down 1111, and I'm like, oh, 11. I'm like 1111. I'm like, oh, and 1111 is also a spiritual number about alignment and all of that.
Right. Make
And
a
so
wish.
I go look to get the domain. Literally, as I get the domain, I look on my clock, and it's 1111.
Meant
I
to
am not.
be.
I even took a picture
Meant
of it.
to be.
So I'm like, all right, this is it. This is what I want to do. I've been in, and I work in corporations. I work in law firms, but I'm like, I want to do something that's non-corporate as well. As an
Okay.
entrepreneur, you're always looking to create. You're always looking to recreate,
Right.
develop different things. So I'm like, I want to do a non-corporate thing, and that's where the 1111 reset came. So
So each one represents a different mission.
a different takeaway that you're going to
Different
get.
takeaway. So
Yeah.
say that again slowly so that we can really take this in.
Sure. So at the end of each seminar or online Zoom that we do together, it's very interactive. You have at the end one new insight that you're going to make
New insight.
from that experience that you just had. You're going to decide what's one habit I'm going to stop. And then you're going to decide what's one new action I'm going to take and what's one new reframe I'm going to make on the topic we just talked about, on the
Right.
topic that you just experienced
Right.
in the seminar. And when I do these, I make it very personal and specific to you. So I understand when anyone does anything, they're like, well, what's in it for me? What am I getting out of this, right? It's normal. So I design everything as a teacher, like from that point of view, like I have to make sure this is very specific to them.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if there are 5 people on the Zoom or there's 1,000 people on the Zoom, because I designed it in such a way that whatever topic we talk about, you will get the opportunity to do a deep dive into that topic specific to your life and what you're going through. And you will make, based on all the activities I bring you through and the discussions we bring you through, what changes and how you're going to move forward based on what we talked about. So it's really experiential. And we're going to do some of that later, so you'll see
Right.
what I mean.
I can't wait for
But
that.
it's not me coming on and just talking about things.
And lecturing.
It's not lecturing. No, it is like,
interactive.
Yes, it's I have music, all the modalities as a teacher. You know what I
Love
mean?
it, yes.
So it's interactive. You're writing in a journal. I have breakout rooms. I have
You talk to other people.
You
that
talk
are
to
on the
other
Zooms?
people.
Okay.
So it's everything. It's everything. Put it this way: by the time we're ending, we need like another hour. It goes so fast.
Because you opened the door,
Yeah.
and now you're in. So here's my other question: when I was reading through this, so I'm on the Zoom, and I really need some self help, and I'm listening intently, and I'm enjoying. Do I share my personal?
So I design.
Things?
So what's important? So it's a good question.
Yeah, because I don't want to be judged.
No,
right?
no. So and anyone knows this, anyone who's been in any of my seminars, corporate wise or in a seminar, I set the tone in the beginning and I elicit from the class, how are we going to show up today
Right.
so that we can get the most out of this? How are we going to show up for each other? And I elicit from them, there's no judgment because we've all been on a different path. Nobody's been in each other's shoes. We're open-minded. We're supportive. So everybody's telling us, I elicit from the class, every way that we should show up today. And there is no judgment. And that is one of the things people love. It's really funny. I actually did a live seminar of like this, but for it was for all like leaders on Long Island. And it just so happened that the one live seminar I did, they were all men and they were all leaders and they were CEOs, and it was on communication. And by the end,
communication.
Yes, exactly. But by the end of it, through the things I brought everybody through, and the way the room was just so accepting of each other, and the walls came down, I had one person stand up there like, "How the heck did you get a room full of male egos to like talk to each other and bring down walls and not judge each other whatsoever? How did that happen?" And it's like, I won't let it happen any other way. Like, that's how it has to be.
That's how it has to be.
Yeah, there's no room for that. So I am like hardcore. We are not here to judge. Nobody here is perfect, including myself.
Right.
We've all been through things. We are only here to support and grow.
Love that.
And when I do the seminars online, I will decide what things should be shared and what things aren't. And when you do share, it's usually just like one person. So it'll be like a small group. It'll be a small like breakout room. But everybody knows I'm not judging them. I'm supporting them. And that's something that it's like
super
a definite,
important for you to say.
Huge,
right?
So important.
Because we've all done Zooms in whatever capacity.
Nope.
And then as soon as you go to the breakout rooms, people are like, "Did you hear what that speak?"
Yep.
And
Nope.
I'm like, that's not what we're here for, right?
Exactly.
So let's bring it to another level. Okay, I love that. All right, so we're going to get to question number 3. At your last 11/11 Reset event, you had participants walk through the stress dump activity.
Yes.
And you promised me that would be something we could do live together tonight.
Yes.
So bring it on.
Let's
and
go.
I haven't thought about it.
Okay.
I'm trying to be very fresh-minded tonight.
Okay, good. So what I'm going to do, this is the teacher in me again.
Please.
When
I
you
relate.
take every time, so every month, the main event is the seminar that we do.
Okay.
And there's a link, you go into a members area, it's a VIP members area, you have the link to get on the Zoom, and you also have to download the journal for that topic, which we have here.
Right.
We have here.
We have here.
And then you download the 11/11 sheet, which we talked about before. That's there also. And this is what you're going to use. And I don't do it on the computer. You have to write, because that also helps you to remember and learn when
Love
you're
that.
actually physically writing.
Right, tactile.
So this is my 11/11 Reset Journal. Reset your stress from frazzled to free. Now, I just did this because the first Tuesday of this month is gone.
Right.
But I'm doing a pop-up this week.
Very
so I don't know,
good
you
to
would talk about
know.
that later.
We're
but
going to talk
do
about
this
it later.
again.
Okay, but I want to do this activity.
Okay, let's go. All right.
Okay.
So the first thing that we talk about, obviously there's no judgments and all of that. I also open with gratitude, because I think that also gets everybody in a great place.
Yeah.
Like, what are you grateful for today? So I talk about that. So now your personal stress dump. So I say, all right, what does stress cause us? It causes us like, we can't sleep.
Right.
Our mind is shot. You know, we
Yes.
can't remember things. All these different things that happen to us. So I'm like, look, who wants that? Not me, not you. Let's get rid of that. So the first thing we do in the stress dump is I have everybody write in their journal all the things that are stressing them out. So all the people, all the circumstances, all the thoughts that you have, everything stressing you out, you dump it onto this paper. And
Okay.
there's a list here. And then next to it, you rate it from 1 to 10. 10 is it's completely taking over my life, to 1, not so much. I don't care if it's my desk is messy and that's stressing me out.
Yeah.
To life transitions, to a passing of someone, or retiring, or changing jobs, or a divorce. Whatever is on your mind, you get it out of your head and you put it on this paper. So we all do that.
Okay.
Then we go through what are the things we can control in life, and what are the things we can't control in
All
life.
right. So we got to process this.
Okay.
Just let me get a minute. So if I was sitting here doing this activity
Yes.
and I did 1 to 10, I mean, I can come up with 10 things that can stress me. But as you age, you're not my age yet, but as you age, you kind of level it out. Like, this is so out of my control that me stressing over it is nonsensical,
Right.
because I'm not going to get anywhere with it. Like, I'm going to be nervous about flying somewhere. Out of my control.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
and that's going to prevent me from going on a family vacation when
Right.
everyone else is going to
Right.
Europe, and I'm going to sit at JFK. That makes no sense.
Yes.
Okay, so, but that's what goes through your head. So if I'm sitting there and I'm stress dumping, first of all, dumping it onto the paper, beautiful idea.
That in itself is like,
Beautiful.
all right, it's there. I don't have
It's
to remember
there.
everything in my
It's-
head that I'm
right,
stressed
it's
about.
there. And I'm looking at it and saying, wow, that's been with me for a while, or that just is recent.
Right.
Okay. I would say 9 out of the 10 things that I would put on the paper would deal with my children. And that's the stress that I have about their futures, where they're going, if they're safe, are they well-intentioned, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm noticing that it's less stress about myself. And if I was a 25-year-old, I'd be, I don't have good enough skin, my hair never looks right, it would be so superficial, such superficial nonsense. So like I can imagine doing this with kids, it would be such superficial. The guy didn't call me back, but all right. But now I'm saying, okay, stress dump. All right, so you're saying level it or rate it 1 to 10, right? And then after you do that, do you get some relief from that? Like you're making that a 10?
Yeah, just the fact of from putting it on paper and getting out of, because then what happens is you go through your day, you're driving, you're in the shower, whatever. Oh, this is stressing me out. That's stressing me out. This is that. And it's all in your head. Now it's just like, oh, I have it all on paper. Okay. So I could stop thinking for a moment because I didn't lose anything I'm stressed about, and it's actually on paper. It's still there. I can refer to it. It's still there. So that's step 1, what we do. Okay. The next step is we have to decide, and we do this as a group, like what are the things in life that we can control and what are the things in life that we cannot control. And this is really important in this process. So some of the things you can't control, right? You can't control how other people react. You can't control the weather. You can't control if someone else made a decision. There's a lot that you can't control. So we brainstorm all the things. So I might say throw it in the chat box or whatever. So we brainstorm all the things I can't control. Okay. Then we look at what are the things we can control. And, we can control how we react. We can control what we focus on with our thoughts. We might not be able to control all the thoughts that fly by, but we can control what we focus on. And I prove that to people. I show them and I have them do this activity. You can control the skills that you have. You can control how prepared you are. You can control, there's certain things that you can control, right? But you really can't control others. You may have an influence, because this is brought up sometimes, like you could maybe influence others, right? Or try to influence them or help them, like you're talking about your kids. But at the end of the day, they're going to make the decision of what they're going to do. So you maybe can't control that decision. You could try to influence
the decision. Okay, but now say this to me as a mother who is controlling. I'm not overly controlling, but I like control. I do, and I think that's the teacher in me too. We like things to be copacetic. We like things to be organized. We like things to be on nice little neat pads. Okay, so here at the end of the day, I can't control the way people are reacting back to me, but I can control how I react to them. But can I? Don't I need a toolkit for that? Because some people can't.
Yeah. So the first thing to be able to do that is once we have the list of what you're stressed out about, and you decided what you can't control and what you can control, I have you go back to your list and cross out all the things you can't control that you just told me you can't control. So if you are still stressed about it, you're now creating your own suffering. And I am not saying we are human beings and we go through it, we feel the emotions, we get depressed, we get upset, I've gone through it. My kids I'm an empty nester now, and I am literally at this moment going through that, where I'm home by myself. And
you're worried about where they are.
It's just like, wow, or I think about like this phase of my life is, like I raised my kids through college, like, wow, that's done. Now what? And it's just another phase. And now it's you have to make sure they're all good. They're all on their path and what they're doing. So basically you go back and you cross out the things you can't control. Okay. And so now you see, all right, when this comes up, I have to let it go. Now in the seminar, when we do the seminar, I have, now some people are like, well, it's hard to let it go, right?
Yes.
So, of course. So how do you do that? How do you do that? So I have different things I do. There's certain visualizations I bring people through. There's things that we do to help you. I say, pick the hardest thing that you need to let go of. And we do what's called forward pacing, and I kind of bring you into the future. And you think about like, wow, if I hold on to this, I don't let go. How is this going to affect my life? How is it going to affect the people around me that I love? What opportunities are not going to be there? How is it going to affect everything, my health, everything, if I hold on to this? And then I bring you back and say, okay, let's say you let it go. Now, what does that open up your mind, your soul, your future? If you could let it go 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. So I bring people through this visualization, and I do things like with their hands, and I do some other things with like a water bottle, just because I get it. It's not so easy. No. But at least you know now, okay, this is something, the work is letting it go. I know I can't control this. So at least you get some direction of where to put those things in your life.
So you're giving me tools.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
To strategize how to deal with this.
Yes.
So the only thing I'm thinking of that would be insurmountable if somebody put on the page, I'm stressed over the fact that I have a terminal illness. Right? Okay, now totally out of your control, right?
Yes.
But that stress is not, it's real and it's not going anywhere unless you know how to deal with it.
Right. You could and again, listen, I am not about like, oh, life is just great and it's
the
just
roses
whatever, and
smell
it's,
wonderful.
Listen, like life happens.
It's
Stuff comes
real.
out. I lost my father in his sleep, no signs of anything. He was 53 years old.
Young.
I was 25. Now I'm 56. So I'm like 3 years older than my father when he passed away.
And you think about that,
and
right?
it's just like crazy. And you know, sometimes I use that as an example because it's like, of course, I go through it. You're devastated. You know, you hear about illness. You're devastated. You know, you go through emotions. There's stages you go through. I'm not saying you don't go through that.
Right.
But at some point, you can reframe what happened, right? So another tool is reframing it. So now I look at my dad and I always feel him around me, and I know he loves all this. He would love all this stuff and everything that's going on and the News 12 thing. And so I say, you know, his passing really led me on this spiritual journey, because that's when I started saying, okay, he's not physically here, but my belief system is he's somewhere. He's doing something. His spirit went on. What is he doing? And what are we doing here on this earth? If we're going to leave eventually and we're going to be somewhere else, how can we make this journey the best that we can?
Right.
With all the ups and the downs and the tragedies and the great things and everything, how can we make this journey the best we can? That's what I want to help people do. Not to say that you don't, you know, you learn from different things. You learn, and it's how you look at it. And, you know, there's another example, and I've used this in some of the corporate things that I go to. There's this man who, he's a speaker. He lost his arms and he lost his legs. He was born with no arms and no legs, and he's a speaker. And he talks how he's blessed. Not to say when, you know, as he was growing, he went through all these horrible things and thoughts and stuff, but he eventually got to a place where it's like, I need to change the meaning of this. Because also the meaning is something, this is really important. The meaning is something you always control. No matter what happens to you, what happened to you, the meaning of it is something you always can control. So he has no arms, no legs, right? So that's pretty much a challenge, right? Would you say? I mean, compared to all the things we go through. Like,
absolutely.
And so he has this video and he talks about, you know, he got married. Wow. And he's like, you know, I was upset that I couldn't hold her hand. Like, I would never be able to hold her hand. And then he's like, but then I realized I can hold her heart.
Reframe.
He reframed it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, again, we go through hard things and life shows up. It's like, yes, get it. Like, I'm not saying to anybody, like, forget it or it's not easy. Yes, it's hard. And I feel horrible for anyone that goes through or any transition or they're dealing with things, you know, it's just, it comes up in life. And it's just, you know, it's how you move through it. And eventually you get to a place where it's like, all right, I can't live like this anymore. I have to do something because this is not good for me, my people around me. It's not, you know, how I'm dealing with this. And that's where you say, you know, I have to try to change my mindset. I have to change perspective. I have to find a way to look at this differently at a certain point. Even things that happened in your past that you're stressed about, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. But you can reframe it, you know, even going through a divorce. People could say, I'm going through a divorce, my life is over, who's gonna want me, da-da-da-da, and you go through all this. Or you can say, I got a blank canvas here. You know, I have an opportunity to eventually have an amazing relationship in life, right? And so it's the meaning you could change. Like I said with my dad, you can say, well, yeah, he passed, but the meaning is going to be, but he put me on this spiritual journey where I want to help so many people, you know? So you control that meaning. It's so important. It's so important. So
it's so important for you to say this to people who are struggling, right? Because you found the tools and the spiritualness and the encouragement probably spiritually around you from your father. But at the end of the day, there are people, and I'm hearing you very clearly, you can be very upset about what has occurred and give yourself that grace to be upset.
Absolutely, yes.
But then there's a point where if those stressors are controlling your being and
Yes.
your intentions and maybe some of your habits where you're turning to things to numb.
It's the moment that you sit on the couch, and whether it's
Yeah.
you were on the couch for a week or a year or 5 years or a few days, and you're like,
No
all right,
more.
this has got to stop.
It's got to stop.
It's
I
gotta
got to get out of
stop.
my sweatpants,
Right,
and
like,
put on makeup and get out.
I got to
there.
do something.
I got to get out there.
So that's another. So the next part of this, leading into that, is
Okay.
you go back to the list, right? So we dealt with things that you can't control. You go back to the list. The things that you did not cross off
Right.
are the things you can control, but you're stressed about.
And you can work on them.
Yeah. So what's great about that is usually you're stressed about it because you haven't made a decision or a move, and you're like, paralysis by analysis. So what I have people do is go back and say, okay, the things you did not cross off the list, I want you to write an action step, just one action step you're going to take.
Okay.
And they have a little chart, and they write it on the chart. And whether it's I need to talk to someone, or I have to have a meeting, or I have to research something, or I have to do something in my backyard, whatever it is, or talk to my kid, whatever it is. So now when you write down those action steps and you do them, you will feel more empowered,
Right.
and that will help the stress to lessen.
Yeah, those
And
are
you know
the
what?
tools.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Very recent example. So I had an infection. I had a root canal and infection, and I had to get it taken out. And I'm just like so stressed about it. I'm like, all right, this is something I could control. Just make the appointment and get it done. So 3 days ago, I still am taking like penicillin,
Antibiotics,
yeah,
yeah.
antibiotics for it. I just said, just do it and get it over with, and then you're not gonna be stressed about it anymore. I'm stressed because I'm not taking action. So I took action. It's done. It's over. I'll be healed in a few days, and that's that. So I mean, that's like a simple thing.
No, that's a great
But it's just
analogy.
an example of, so basically in this specific reset, this theme for this month, you're writing down everything you're stressed about. You're deciding what you can and can't control. You
Right.
cross off what you can't control. And we do a lot of activities to help you let go. And then you go back, and the things you can control, you write an action item for each.
That's great. I mean, this sounds like what every senior in high school should be going through before they pick their colleges,
Oh my
what
God,
they're going
yeah.
to choose to do with their lives, if they're going into the military. Like these activities are the activities that, like the younger brain, which needs to process things at 18, and now the corporate age, right? We're processing things differently, but there are still stressors, right? And they're important to people at whatever period of time they're in, right?
That's a great point. And so that's why with every month is a different theme, and it's designed so it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, what you're going through. This is about, you're going through some type of transition. What do I do? You work on you.
You
Take that time to work on you
Right.
in a positive way, because then once you work on yourself in these different powerful life areas, you're going to feel more confident. You're going to get an idea, all right, now this is how I want to handle moving forward. This is how I want to do this, because you're going to come from a place of empowerment
Right.
instead of coming from a place of, what do I do?
And I love what you're saying also, because many, many, many listeners are female that watch the show. And a lot of times they make decisions based on what is perceived to be correct for women.
Right.
And they also don't want anyone to say negative things about the choices that they're making. And that comes from empowerment, which they may be lacking because
Right.
they're in a marriage for 45 years, or they were brought up
Yes.
culturally however.
Right.
So I love that you're saying that, because most of the people listening are women, and they get stuck in, I have to do the right thing,
Right.
and what's expected of me, which may not be what's best for the person.
Yes. And I address that in one of the resets I do, one of the months. I talk about figuring out what your values are, your top values. And we go through a whole process of deciding what your 3 top values are. And that's important because
Sure.
if you are if you feel good about yourself and your life, you are probably doing things every week that are aligned with your values. If you feel disconnected from life, it's because you have these values, these things that are important to you, but you're not doing them. So it's really important to know, what is it? What are those things, those 3 top values that they are, and start
Right.
designing your life around that. And that's when you're going to feel fulfilled. But that's another month, another reset that we have. But just to
Love
give
it.
you an example.
Yeah, no, I love it,
you
because
know,
I know who's listening, and I want this to come across the right way and appropriately for them. All right, let's get to question number 4. Bobby, if you could put up the picture about the online membership so that we can break down exactly what you're going to get when you apply for this. So it's the picture with the code also that has, yes, that's the one. So if you could put that up and Donna can talk us through that. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Okay, so this is...
Oh yeah, this is a good. This is kind of compares it to what we do. So
Yeah, I
the
love that.
membership is $47 a month,
Okay.
right? So going to coffee, going out to a lunch, like
Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks. I
Three
mean,
times.
exactly. How more important is getting your nails done? It's like twice that. It's getting your
Oh,
hair done. And we
sure.
know about that, right?
Sure.
Especially when you get in the grays and you have to
Yes.
go all the time. It's
Yes.
ridiculous, right? So how much more worth is your mindset and your well-being? $47 a month. I made it so it's
Very
not crazy.
practical.
Corporate is a way lot more. So I wanted to do something that we all could do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, all right, here we go. So it's $47 a month.
Okay, and if you are watching right now, and if you're listening, you can still find the 1111 reset, right?
Yes.
On any sort of Google it and it'll pop up and it'll
Yes,
tell you what to
right,
do.
right. The website is the 1111 reset,
The 1111.
THE, and then ones, the number
Okay.
ones, reset.com.
And if you're watching right now, there's a QR code that we
Mm-hmm.
just put up, and Donna is also going to give my listeners, tell them.
Yes. So I'm going to go through this. So when you join, it's $47. However, I want you to try it out because you're probably like, well, what is this? There's no commitment. You can cancel at any time through your members area. So it's not me that does it. You do it. You're in control of that. So that number one is really important. I believe in this so much, and I believe in the results we're getting and the atmosphere in the community and the actual realistic tools that people are applying, that I just want you to try it. So when you sign up, you sign up at the end when you register, you write in the code, you type in the code VIP 1 month, the number one. So VIP, the number one, VIP 1 month, and you get the first month for free. So that means you could do it for the first month, go to the seminar, and if you don't like it, you could get off the seminar and you could cancel it and never be charged. However, I really truly believe it'll be something that, just like I said, a gym membership, this is a mindset membership. So you do that. Then once you do that, you get, and especially for your listeners, the VIP code. I mean, that's for everybody actually, but I'm doing something special for you guys too. I'll tell you in a minute.
you.
So after you sign up, you will get an email. In the email, you get a link to your members area. That's the only place where you can get in. So you get a link to the members area. In the members area is the link to the Zoom that we're going to do. There's the link for the PDF to download your journal and your 1111 reset sheet. There's replays in there. So everything you need as far as being your membership, if you wanted to cancel, that's in there. It's all in there. So every month we do the seminar. That's the main event. If you are very busy and you just did the seminar, you will still come away with massive action you can take, a game plan, an experience, if that's all you want. However, if you want to do something where you continue to work on this, throughout the month, you have the 1111 sheet. Those are the things you're going to use throughout the month that you decided at the end of the seminar. But if you want to do other things besides the main event, which is the online seminar, you also have an app. So you download an app, there's 1111 Reset app. You can only get that through the members area. Again, everything's through the members area. And on that app, it's pretty cool. And I used AI to help design it, which
That's
was
fine.
like so
That's
cool.
a tool, too.
Oh, no, I know. It was just so cool. And then I edited the heck out of it. But, to give me the basis, I just thought that was really cool. So anyway, you get an app. And on the app, what's really cool about it is you take the 1111, the 1111 things that you wrote down, and you enter it into the app. It asks you, which reset did you just do? So let's say you just did reset my stress. You're going to put in everything, and then the app actually populates all the other sections of the app based on what you just wrote, and will give you daily challenges, weekly challenges, gratitude, which is a big part of what I do too, gratitude. So it's really interesting to do that. And then you also have, we have a community, we have a WhatsApp community. So everybody gets onto there, and you can talk about whatever you want, but it's a way we could all stay connected, we can announce things. So there is the community, there is the app, there is the main event, which is the seminar. So you can either just do the seminar,
Fantastic.
or you can do all the other things too if you want to go along with that.
Yeah.
And so
Check it out. Why not?
Yeah, I just did the 1111 reset. This month was reset your stress from frazzle to free. I already did it because it's on the first Tuesday of every month, and I do it from 12 to 1. So if you work, and you're on a lunch break, you could take it then. If you're home, you could take it then. And I'm also starting to introduce it at night from 7 to 8. So you have a choice. The one that's really full right now, because we were just getting this off the ground last couple of months, is a 12 to 1. That's where I'm getting everybody to kind of sign on to that one.
Yeah, but then the fall.
Right. So
the
it's
teachers
either,
will be back at work looking for a recess.
Right. So whichever one, I put my day up for just this. So anyway, I had some people that still wanted to do the reset stress, and I know I was coming on with you, so I am going to do a pop-up.
Nice.
Which is something that's not normally on the calendar. It's going to be this Thursday, August 13. It's going to be from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be the reset stress. So it's what we did, but we go into it deeper and we do some other things and other activities. And you get the journal and you get all the information. So this Thursday, I would love to meet you. I'm so excited to do this for you. And I want you to walk away with clarity and walk away with like, okay, I have some direction. And even just having that releases stress in all these different areas.
Absolutely. Somebody's
like,
out
what do I
there
do?
listening to me.
Yeah, exactly. And you have these action
Love
items
it.
you can do. So it's August 13, this Thursday, 12 to 1. If you're interested in doing it, I would say register now. Register tonight. Put in your code VIP 1 month at the end. And again, if you don't like it, you could go on and you could cancel it. And actually also, you can cancel anytime. There's no commitment. So it's not a year commitment. It's a revolving membership. So every month is a different theme and different topic, and it just continues. And they're all standalone. So you could jump in at any month that you want throughout the year.
That's a lot of freedom, right?
Yeah.
She's not taking your credit card and making sure that you're there for 12 months. So that's another perk to joining or
Flexible.
Trying it. Right?
Yeah, just try it. Just try it.
Oh, love it. Okay, that brings us to the segment of the show called the Tiara Tip of the Week, which is tough for people because this is what I want you to leave my listeners and viewers with as a takeaway. So we talked about a lot of different things tonight and all valuable, but I was saying to you before we went on air that we look around at a circle of friends that we have, and there are people that seem like they have it all together. They have the beautiful house, they go on vacations, they drive great cars, they have gorgeous jewelry and clothing, and we say, look, they planned everything out perfectly and everything is going smooth and going well for them. They're very competent, but they're exhausted. And we see that they're exhausted. So I wanted to know, and I said this, and I won't use any names, a friend reached out to me when he saw that Donna was going to be on the show and said, I'm being hit with almost every transition you could think of right now. A divorce, my kids are living in a different state, I started a new job, I moved to another location. It's a lot for me. And I said, just please watch the show tonight, and we'll reconnect after you watch the show, because you look like you have it all together, but you're actually physically exhausted. So I think what I want my viewers to take away is, what can this program do for the people who are exhausted because they're maybe not accepting or owning that they have a lot of stress
that they're going
them.
through that. Yeah. First of all, I want to say I completely can relate, because I've gone through the empty nest, the divorce, the changing of careers, moving my house that I didn't really expect.
Those are all traumatic events.
So first of all, I get it, and I think that's really another reason why I love to do this, because I'm not just telling you stuff. I am living it. I live it. I still go through times. I would say, listen, we don't always know the reason why certain things are on our journey, but I could promise you that there is some kind of growth from this, even though you're not feeling it at the time. And it's like those times when you're just sitting down and going, I can't believe this.
Right.
I can't believe I'm going through all this stuff at the same time. I can't believe what's happening to me. Right. Take a deep breath, feel what you got to feel. Again, we're human beings. We're all we're spiritual beings having this human experience is what I believe. But then whether it's me or it's somebody else, focus on yourself and get yourself into a place, and your mindset and belief systems, and start developing yourself. I personally, I go right to my soul. I have faith in God. And when there's fear that pops up, and because there does, and I have fear, but then I remind myself, well, either I have fear or I have faith. Am I going to trust or not trust? What am I going to do? And so it's like when you're at these moments, that's when, you have to really make that decision. how am I going to handle this? And if you can't figure it out on your own, again, whether it's me or somebody else, turn the mirror to yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to try to make the best me I can, because if I can make the best me I can and my belief systems get them on point, then whatever I have to handle, I'll be able to handle from a place of empowerment instead of a place of lack and weakness, because we never make good decisions when we're in that place. When we're in that place, I say, take a rest, go lay on the couch. And when you get into that place where it's like, I've had enough of this, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, there's something in you that we all have our souls and we all could rise above. You know, there's so much out there that's so much greater than the problems that we go through. But turn the mirror onto yourself and work on you, and you will be empowered.
Ask for help.
Absolutely. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's a book. I don't care if it's somebody else. But I'm telling you, I really care about the people out there. Do something. You matter. You're important. And we all go through life transitions, and it happens. But it's going to be okay. We move through it. Look at all the things you already overcame. That's another thing I always say. Go into your past. Look at the things you did overcome. Right? You went through 100% of your worst days. You made it.
Right.
So now what can you use that you made through in the past, and how can you take that part of you and apply it to what you're going through now?
And some of the changes are for the better. You just don't see them yet.
Right.
Powerful, powerful stuff. I loved every minute of this. So unfortunately, we have to come to a close. So see how quickly that went?
I know.
So now we get to the portion of the show called the Royal Invitation. So as summer, is coming to a close, I mean, we feel it because we lived that teacher life. We're going away from bikinis and boats and beautiful sunsets and boating, and we're getting ready for the fall. But we're also remembering that the summer brought a lot of happiness, including a lot of weddings. So my next guest is a fellow pickler. I play pickleball every day.
Oh, nice.
And she is Miss Gina, there she is, DeGuardia. And she and her mom have owned a bridal shop in Bayshore called The Bridal Suite for over 40 years. And she recently has sold it. And that is the next picture. Miss Andrea is the young woman who took over the business, this generational business from Gina and her mom. But the really sweet story is that Andrea went to the bridal suite to get her prom dress and was treated so royally and wonderfully by Gina and her mom that she made a mental note, that if she ever had to get into business, she would try to learn from the best, which was Gina and her mom, Doris. And she went back, and it was at a time where Gina was transitioning and changing her lifestyle, and she decided to encourage Andrea to purchase the business. And both of them will be on as examples of female entrepreneurship and starting over. And of course, what we love the most is beautiful brides and people who treat you with a sense of one-on-one personal experience, expert seamstresses, and just personal care that maybe you don't get at other locations. So Gina and I are friends on the court, but she will be here on August the 25th with Andrea to discuss their business propositions and how they got to where they are today. So I want you to tune in on August the 25th, because we always want to say yes to the dress. And that is the key to the bridal suite. So I want to thank my guest, Miss Donna Sirianni. And I said to Donna right before we went on air, I had a lot of videos that I could have chosen from her Instagram loop, but the one that I loved the most was when she took her mom back to her childhood home in Brooklyn, in Dyker Heights. And her mom was looking through, the rooms and how the neighborhood had changed, and realizing how small the houses were and how close they were and how small the driveways were. And she said to her mom at the end of the video, "What is it that you miss the most?" And her mom said, "Brooklyn." So I can relate to that as well. And it was a heartfelt moment, and I loved seeing that. So thank you, Donna. I hope you all take a moment to QR code, join, look at the 1111 reset, look for help, seek it. We have tools, we have strategies, and that's really what the message was this evening. So thank you very much for viewing, and I'll see you on the 25th. Have a good night.